Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. So like I mentioned in the previous video, as my lead up to the Child's Play remake or reboot, or whatever you want to call it, I'm sort of trying to go back to the original Child's Play films, and today I'm reviewing Child's Play 2. This was once again written by Don Mancini, and this one was directed by John LaFia. Don't know a lot about him, but he sort of did a solid job with this film. And it once again stars Alex Vincent as reprising his role as Andy. What this film does is it takes place 3 years after the events of the original film. And it looks at how the company who created these good guy dolls is trying to recoup the dolls, is trying to make them out to be not as scary as people think, because the story's going around of this particular doll that went crazy ultimately, and it's sort of put a damper on that particular doll, and it's ultimately given the toy factory a bad name. So they're trying to fix that up and trying to patch up that sort of thing by what they do is they take the crisp and burnt version of Chucky that he was destroyed in the first film, and they ultimately rebuild him. When I first saw this, I thought, this is crazy, why would they be rebuilding? But it's trying to save face, trying to show that these dolls are safe and trying to get this product out there again. And this seems quite fascinating, the whole opening sequence, because it's sort of getting off all the dirt and grime and giving him a new body. It's this really great sequence where they give him new eyes. There's a machine that has the eyeballs on the end of it, and they just sort of push into the head. And this sort of gives him a charge and ultimately brings him back to life. And we once again introduced to Andy, reprised again by Alex Vincent. And this time he's a few years older. He's part of an orphanage now. Court's deemed his mother unfit. They all think she's crazy because she's saying that the doll did all the crimes in the first film, not her or her son. And the cops have sort of buried it and said it didn't happen the way they think they did. So he's ultimately thrown into the foster system, bounced around from different places, and ultimately he found his comfort in this particular family, this particular couple, who ultimately take him in and try and help him out and try and get him back on track and help him have a comfortable place to live. Despite being roasted to a crisp in his last escapade, Chucky rises from the ashes. Back in one piece, Chucky tracks down his prey to a foster home where the chase begins again. What I really liked about this film is they're expanding the world. They're carrying on the storyline of Andy and evolving his character along the way, which I think was very clever. I love the fact that this film sort of began in the toy factory and resurrecting Chucky. I kind of like that aspect to it, because we got to see the other side of it, where these dolls were created and how Chucky sort of comes back. And I think that's really clever and really interestingly done. It's a little slapsticky in moments in this particular toy factory, but it works for what it's going for. I like that we're reintroduced to Andy and the world he lives in now, and how he's been affected and struggling to make sense of things with his mother being put away in a psychiatric hospital, and him trying to get on with life. But ultimately it's the return of Chucky that throws everything into chaos, and everyone starts to believe that it's Andy once again doing these murders. He ultimately befriends an older girl who's been taken in by the family as well, played by Christine Elsa, who I'd really known from Baywatch, is where I sort of know her from, I think, and a few other things. She's really great in this. And she sort of takes Andy under her wing and tries to help and protect him. And she ultimately finds out that Chucky is alive and he is real and he's been doing these particular things. And she's sort of racing to help Andy and stop it from happening and protect him. And it sort of leads to an interesting battle towards the end. There's a lot of humour in this film that I really liked as well, where Chucky has a lot of one-liners, much like Freddy Krueger does in Nightmare on Elm Street. And they're really humorous. Where he comes face to face with another doll who's calling himself Tommy. And ultimately Chucky destroys the doll, beats him sort of to death, so to speak. And he takes on the persona as Tommy. And it's really fantastic. There's this moment like where they say to him, "Who are you?" "Hi, my name is Tommy." And I really like that. He's pretending to be this Tommy character. And the bit that made me really laugh is he buried the body in this little grave. It was really hilarious and very well done. And I got a lot out of that particular scene. I think Alex Vincent is solid in this as the young kid getting a bit older. And he's really preparing himself so that if Chucky does come back, he knows how to defend himself this time. And he's not caught unawares like he was in the original film. Christine Elsa, who plays Charlie, she's a really great character. I really like the actress, and I like the idea of one person knowing about something and then another person being sucked into that world and being introduced to this particular thing that this person's afraid of or has overcome that no one believes him about. And this sort of adds some great interesting, fun moments within the film. There's some really great animatronic scenes that keep the doll animatronic, and he's really great. And there's some really great moments in it. It does have jump scares in it, but not in the what we know as jump scares these days. They're just done in a different way, where the doll sort of jumps on people, but it sort of works. After the mother is killed ultimately in this film, there's this bit where Charlie comes in, she sits on the bed, and then you just see Chucky rise from underneath the blanket and attack her, and I really like that. I like the ultimately horror elements happening in the background while we're focused in the foreground. I really like that too. I think it had some good ideas, and it was evolving the story and ultimately evolving Andy's character and showing him in a different way and showing him getting older. And I haven't seen the third one, but the third one he goes to military school and he's a bit older again. And I really like the evolution of that particular character. And they revisit this particular character in Curse of Chucky as well, which was a later film that came out not long ago that sort of expands a bit on the origins of the first film and how things transpired to lead into that, and I kind of like that as well. Brad Dourif is great once again doing the voice of Chucky, and gives great humour and levity and charisma to this particular serial killer in such a great way. And he's ultimately trying to repossess the kid again and transfer his soul into the kid and live again once again as a human being. I really like the fact it starts the Toy Story and ends the Toy Story. There's this great sequence at the end of the film where they ultimately run to this toy store and Chucky's trying to, put his soul within Andy, and it doesn't quite work. And Charlie's there to help out, and it's sort of how they battle each other and how they ultimately destroy him. Like, Chucky loses his legs in quite a brutal way, and then he's sort of melted, and then they blow up his head, which is quite extraordinary to watch and quite revolting in a variety of ways. Ultimately, it ends where it began, and I like that. I thought that was a really great idea of connecting everything together. And there's this really great moment where we were in the particular factory and you're seeing all the Chucky dolls being made, and one of the machines breaks down, and this guy goes to fix it and gets knocked unconscious, and ultimately it's a machine that puts the eyeballs in the eye, and they put the eyeballs in this particular character's eye sockets, and it is hilarious. I know it doesn't sound funny, but once you see it, you know what I mean. It just looks really, really funny. And this is one I highly recommend. If you get a chance to watch any of the Child's Plays or the later Chucky films, definitely check them out. They're definitely worth your time. Final verdict. Look, if you're a fan of the original film, if you're a fan of this trilogy, if you've never seen the Child's Play films, definitely check this one. It's definitely worth your time. It's very clever and funny and well done, and I was really impressed with this particular film. I'm going to give Child's Play 2 4 out of 5. Much like the first one, there's a lot of elements I enjoyed. It isn't as good as the first one, but it's still a very solid and well-made horror film. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit subscribe down the bottom. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.